Oh, I think I muted myself. You guys should be able to hear me now. Sorry about that. So, welcome back to the new episode of Ask the Expert. So, last week we talked about how to choose your remote live producer for your live shopping event so you can just be at ease, take care of the content, the concept, and then someone to take care of all the screen switching and all the production and tech run stuff as well. And today we're going to talk about how to craft your live shopping promotion or strategy. So you know that live shopping could be a really good, strong addition to your marketing mix. And you're figuring out all the steps to make sure your event's going to go smoothly. But now you need to people actually to show up and engage, right? And that's definitely one of the hardest part when it comes to crafting your live shopping strategy. The reason why is because for live shopping show, it's really specific that the event happened in a specific hour, specific 30 minutes. And all your marketing efforts should be tailor and then direct to that traffic to that specific time. So it's not something that we always have been doing. We're doing very familiar with different kind of marketing campaign that's just drive traffic to the website for all time. But for that specific hour, is there some specific skills or tips that we can share today with you to build a really, really good traffic as well? So really happy today that we'll be able to invite Jeff from Bloom. He's the director of paid media. Let me just bring Jeff in to meet all of us. Hi, Jeff.
Hello, Helen. Hey, everyone.
Welcome for joining us today. So last year, people have been really overwhelmed by a lot of virtual event, right? And then we work like meeting, it's all online. And then for the evenings meeting, we're also doing it online. People like to shop online, spend time online. Like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I've been like on my phone all the time. I mean, this is my job. I'm doing digital marketing, but in the pandemic, it's just like, it get worse. So I can totally understand there are a lot of people like me or like just using it as an entertainment tool that they get really tired by using something like doing things online. So I assume that for like people, agency like Bloom and like Jeff, when you guys are doing like paid media marketing, it's getting a bit more difficult when you want to get people to sign up for an event or call to action, ask them to do something. We really have to be convincing, interesting, and fun in order to get your objectives done as well, is it, Jeff?
That's right. Like you said, it's maybe an overboard and overload of the typical digital thing. So we kind of need to find ways to cut through the noise now.
Yeah. So for live shopping, for those who don't know what is live shopping, and live shopping is usually, not usually, sorry, live shopping is basically a combination of social media. You have like a chat there and you have an e-commerce so you can make a purchase, and live streaming. So it's essentially doing a live that you can make a purchase, right? So today, Jeff will be sharing with us 7 tips. How can you effectively build traffic that drive to your live shopping event that can also drive to your ultimate goal, either for sales conversion rate or engagement. So let's bring out the presentation that Jeff prepared for us today.
Absolutely. So we're going to walk through 7 quick tips on some of the key things that we've found to make live shopping very successful. We've made it relatively short and digestible just so that you get the hints, and then you can obviously get creative on your own. So first one, I think this is probably one of the most critical ones. You're asking a lot of these users. You're asking them to set aside time to come in and focus, be on your site for half an hour, an hour, or whatever that might be. So you have to make sure that you give them an irresistible offer. Why should they set aside that time to go and spend that time on your site and engage with you? So some of the things that we would typically suggest would be exclusive products or exclusive bundles, maybe a product launch, something like that, something brand new. Make sure that it's not something that someone can just go on site and take advantage of on site. It needs to be a different experience than that. So don't just rinse and repeat the same products you have there. Maybe it's a deep discount. Maybe it's explaining how your product is made or how it's designed, that kind of thing. Make sure it's a really deep, engaging one-to-one experience.
Sorry, just unmute myself. Just to have one point to add here is like within our community and the show that we see from a client, I can I second that. For having an exclusive discount or offering or something special for the audience really works so well, because imagine that, I mean, me as an audience myself going to different kind of live streaming shows or live shopping event, I'm just like, I make my time to be there for like that 30 minutes or an hour. And if I get either a shout out or I can buy an exclusive deal, it just makes me feel like next time I don't want to miss it. So I think this is a really, really important point for any other brand to bear in mind, that you want to make your audience feel special. And this factor, it's already important in across all kind of marketing initiative, but in live streaming, it's in particular important because just remember, they make that specific time for you to be there, and they won't be able, they will miss the show otherwise. So they will want to be rewarded as well.
That's it. That's exactly it. It's a big buy-in for someone to set aside that time. So like you said, make it special. Okay. Number 2, I'd say this one is maybe it's bread and butter, but it's one of those basics that you always need to cover. Make sure that you're re-engaging your past customers, your current community, the people who are really engaging with you right now. Obviously, the most clear way of doing that is sending out some email blasts. Make sure your high value customers are aware. Make sure you set that up with enough time frame to give them the heads up. So often 2 to 3 weeks in advance, start trickling in that information so that they know, okay, in a week or 2, I need to set aside half an hour or an hour at whatever time of day. I need to plan out my time to make sure that I can be there. So email marketing is a really great way to do that. Make sure you increase your cadence. Make sure when you get closer, it's communicated a little bit more heavily, and you bring in those people who are already really engaged with your brand. Obviously, another way that you could do that would be taking those emails, bringing them onto some advertising platforms, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, retargeting those guys and bringing forth that message to make sure that they're aware of what's going on. And then, of course, reaching out to new users, using those email lookalikes and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I have a question for you, Jeff. Have you been working on this, like re-engaging with different customer to bring them to the live shopping show? Have you noticed there one channel that maybe works best for live shopping, for these live shopping contacts?
Absolutely. I would say, like you guys can see here, number 3 is social. Social is just the channel that gives you the room to be able to communicate the things properly. You have the room for visuals, either that's static or video, but also interesting, engaging copy, and you have various ways that you can communicate that. So I'd say if we're talking about what channel you can communicate that best, it would be social for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I see a lot of our clients, they do really, really creative and interesting campaign on social media to bring different traffic to the live shopping show. And one thing that I really like is, I think that will be our next point, but one thing I realize is, especially when they work with people that it's outside of the brand, because like not only just like it's an effective way for me to get the information because I'm on social media every day, but it also is like delivered by the people that I love, like I follow them for their content and whatever they have to say, I'm here for it. So I think like building the hype via social media is really, really a cool channel to use for live shopping apparently.
That's absolutely it. So we kind of covered this slide, but yeah, create that buzz on your social media. Make sure you boost it organically. Make sure you're communicating it often. You know that only a small portion of your organic followers will see it, so keep communicating it or boost that post. Make sure it remains visible and it remains easily accessible for these guys. Set the tone. Tell them what you're going to get during that time. Allow them to have that information on the exact date and time before you launch those social media campaigns and that kind of thing. Make sure you get that out there and have it out there for a while to make sure everyone sees it. The other thing would be, of course, it's not just a social thing. Take advantage of your lookalikes. Take advantage of your audience insights and your social channels. Make sure you're reaching that broader audience. Social is a great way to get out in front of people who behave in similar ways and who have exhibited interest in your product or similar products. So not just your first party data or your current engagers, expand beyond as well.
Yeah, for those who don't know about Agency Bloom, they're amazing because one of our client, Jenny Bird, like the live shopping event, the master brain behind it is Bloom Agency. And the reason why I bring it up here is because I want to introduce one example that Jenny Bird, when they did their first live shopping event, how they kind of use that, like they make a really good use of social media to channel the post to the actual live shopping show. So I remember that show is like a new product launch, and the founder, Jenny herself, will be in the show to tell you about the story, the reason behind every design, and then to mix and match with you at that time. It's a really authentic and personal setup, right? And in that promotion, what Jenny did, it's like she basically filmed an Instagram story. I remember it clearly because I really was impressed by her personality and the way that the marketing was done. So she basically taking two clothes and is like, oh, which one you think matches better with this chain that I'm going to wear today? Or like, oh, which light you think it's better, warm light or cold light? I think this is a really, really good foundation and expectation to set that the live shopping event, it's going to be really personal because you see Jenny herself asking you question that is behind the scenes. So I think it's like, apart from using social media as a buzz is an obvious choice, but also how to channel your promotional strategy to your actual show. It's also a really, really important thing to consider as well.
Absolutely. Okay, so number 4. It says it's a bit of a cheat because it's still partially on social media, but make sure you leverage those influencers. Reach out to your network and make sure they're communicating that well in advance. I'd say for them, obviously not 2 to 3 weeks out in advance like you guys will be doing on your emails, but make sure that they're communicating it a few days out, maybe a week out. Make sure they're creating that buzz for their followers to make sure that they're there, they're listening. Give them examples on the types of things that they'll see there. Get them really amped up to go and visit your brand and see what they can get there.
Yeah, I'm just like keep giving example here for all the tips that Jeff has been providing to us. So actually, it's not even like example that what you can try. It's example of like a real life example that had happened. So say again, it's Jenny Bird because they really nail the whole promotion strategy. I remember what they've done is like they invite their whole influencer network. So before the show, in a different influencer, they actually share the news of Jenny is going to do this live shopping show and saying that, hey, the chain that I'm wearing now, you'll be able to get it with this exclusive launch in this live shopping event that hosted by Jenny herself. I see that in so many different influencers they work with. And for me, I just felt like, wow, this sounds like a really huge thing that I shouldn't miss. So I think that is also another really great example of how to leverage your influencer network that you already work with. So apparently you work with them because they're community and audience are in favor to you, your brand, right? So it also makes sense that you extend your live shopping promotional strategy with them as well, I think.
That's it. You want to make sure that you're covering as many channels as possible and being as visible as you can across all of these different venues. Someone may see it only through your email, or someone may see it only through influencers. So make sure you're as visible as possible everywhere.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Okay, number 5. This one might seem a little bit silly, but make sure you use your website. Maybe switch out that home page and make sure that you've got a counter on there. Make sure your main panel, as soon as you land on that home page, is talking about the live shopping event you have coming up. Give them a link to sign up and put it in their calendar. Make it as easy as possible, and set up those organic reminders in their everyday life. Maybe it's a pop-up as well as you're browsing through the site. If they haven't clicked on that homepage button and signed up for that calendar invite, maybe 3 pages in or 2 pages in, you give them a pop-up that says, "Hey, come sign up for the live event. We have this coming up at this time. Make sure you make that time because we got really cool products to sell."
Yeah. Again, for Journey, for example, I remember they put a countdown on their homepage before the show, like, because you guys are doing a lot of promotional strategy to drive traffic already, like 1-2 weeks ahead of the show. So what happened is like the traffic went to the homepage and there was a countdown, and then so the traffic was never lost, even though the event is not started yet. So what I want to introduce here is actually a little bit about LiveScale, the live shopping technology that we provide, which actually enable different brands to do it even more seamless and interesting experience when you're trying to leverage your e-commerce site traffic. So there's a feature that we have called embed. What allows you to do is basically you can create either a landing page, or if you want to put a button, a call to action button on the heading of your homepage or anywhere you would like. Basically, that call to action, when the link gets open, it open overlay on top of your e-commerce store. So for your customer, it really feels like it's your own show that is owned by your website. There are a lot of benefit and advantage of having a standalone live event link or URL or page, but there's also a really, really seamless and great experience when it's open up on your landing page. It's also really refreshing, right? It's not something that your customer get to see around like everywhere as well. So I think this is also one thing apart from doing a social media property on your website, but it's also how can you make your website more interactive by having these like really authentic, dynamic live shopping event experience as well.
Absolutely. Okay. I'd say those are the most critical things pre-event, let's call it. But once you're done that event, it doesn't mean that you're done there. You have a lot of really great content, a lot of great creatives and things like that you can recycle, or other information you can use. So once that event is done, what are some of the things you need to be doing to recycle that and leverage it for the future? First step would be recycling that actual event. So we can record that, we can take snippets of it, use it for the next promotion, or send it out in an email and say, "Hey, I noticed that you guys were not there during that live event. Here's what you missed. Take a look at the offers that we sent out. Here's the exact exclusive product that we sent, but now it's sold out. Make sure that you're there for the next one." It's a really great way to create some organic, authentic content. And make sure that your engaged users see it and maybe hopefully jump in for the next one as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, because the live shopping happened in that moment. What happened in the live sort of stay in live, right? The exclusive offer and everything, but you never want your marketing initiative just last for an hour, even though it's an amazing sales conversion. So with the recording of the live shopping event, you can remove the time constraint. You can basically repurpose it, like what Jeff has mentioned. You can do a snippet, and I think one thing that I really highly encourage different brands to try to do it is like me as a shopper myself. When I go and buy a lipstick, for example, online, or like any kind of skincare, I've seen so many beautifully taken photos. I've seen like GIF from different more creative way of displaying the product, but it's just like something is missing. It's not very real, right? But imagine if I was picking a skincare product or cosmetic product, and then in that product image or like visual, I see a really small clips of that live shopping event of the influencer or the founder herself introducing you about that specific product. I think as a user, as a customer myself, that's a really, really great and personal experience to be able to see clips like that. And that's also one thing that I think brand today might be missing, apart from repurposing on your social media platform, putting it as a blog. There's one thing that probably they're missing is like you can actually also put it back to your e-commerce store as well.
Absolutely. Okay, and one of the other really engaging things that you can get from this is rich audience insights. So who was there? Who signed up for it? which emails do you have, and how can you re-engage those people? Obviously, to sign up, they'll submit an email. So now you have that list of people who are highly engaged users. Maybe they regularly buy from you, and now they've also attended that live event. So can you use that information to target them better, to create more lookalikes, to find people that behave similar to them, or can you directly reach out to them and find ways to engage with them in different ways as well? Make it a really personal experience. You just gathered extremely deep audience data, so get creative with how you want to use that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So Jeff has covered pre-life and after the life, but something that Jeff haven't tell us yet, but I do think that is definitely worth to mention is one of the things that you guys also have done with Jenny Bird is I've noticed during the show, Jenny Bird also did some promotional stuff on Instagram, which is a screenshot of a comment from that live saying that, oh, this show is amazing. This is what I'm waiting for the whole pandemic time. Or like asking people, what did you get during the show? And imagine that if I miss all your promotion before that, but I'm just in that particular hour, I'm using my Instagram and then I'm following Jenny Bird. So apparently I'm already in love with the brand. And I saw this whole story about what am I missing, the great deal, the fun experience that everybody's apparently there and I'm not there. It's just bring me back to the life, right? Even though I missed all the other marketing and marketing promotion or strategy pre-life. So I think that is also one thing that is really worth sharing with the brand. It's like you have something that you can do pre-live, a lot you can do after, but there's also something you can do during the live show as well.
Absolutely. It's totally fair. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So for those who haven't heard about Jenny Birds, like we talk a lot about that throughout the whole webinar, like Jenny Bird, what have they done? But who are they? Apparently they're one of the client of Jenny Birds, and also it's one of the really, really first early adopter to go on the trend for live shopping. But maybe Jeff can tell us a little bit more about Jenny Bird, the brand in general, and why they get into live shopping as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jenny Bird is a Toronto-based jewelry company founded by Jenny. She does really great creative artistic jewelry. The reason why she jumped into this live event was really we were looking for creative ways to engage our user base during I think the beginning of COVID. We were finding it hard to engage with these people in different creative ways. So we thought that this would be a great experience. She's got a very rabid, very engaged community. She often posts her own stories directly from her. So that's a great way to kind of cultivate that user engagement. So all we did was we translated that over to a shopping experience. So she's already doing that kind of thing. The users are really engaged. They love it. So now let's add that extra layer of, well, you can have that conversation with her, and now you can also buy directly from that conversation. So the first one that we ran with Jenny Bird specifically, we ran it for an hour. We used all of those hints that we gave you guys, those 7 things above. We implemented all of those, and during that 1 hour, she did exclusive products, exclusive bundles, and a new product launch. And during that new product launch, they actually sold out of all of their products during that time. So that 1 hour turned into over $20,000 in revenue for her, which is a really nice, return for them. And it was really successful for them. So what that highlights to me is this is a great avenue to launch a product, but also do a little bit of a test. We indicated earlier you can mix and match designs and mix and match outfits. So if you're unsure of whether or not one product will work, maybe you've got a small sample set of products that you want to see how people how they like it. So hold it up during that time, talk about it, see how people like it. If it sells out, maybe that gives you the indication that you want to move forward with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of great point here that I would like to follow up and have more Jeff's thought on that. So the first one is you mentioned that Jenny Bird has a really, really nice and really well bonded community, which is also a huge contributor to the sales rate. So when you're doing the promotional strategy, is there some specific way that you do for live shopping strategy? For example, it has to be more ready to buy traffic. Like they're not coming here to window shopping. They really come here to make a purchase. When you're doing the paid media strategy, let's say, have you craft something around that or?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the most critical thing that you need to keep in mind for this type of thing to make sure that you get out the right message to your users is really all about copy and creative. By that time, hopefully, you would have already figured out the type of people who you would want to target, people who like to engage, people who already bought from you. You've got those lookalikes built out. You've got those types of things. But what you need to do to make this a success is really switch up that copy. Make sure that they're aware of what that shopping experience will be. What are you offering during that time? Be very clear on when it is and how long, how you engage with it. Make it as simple and seamless as possible. That is really the one thing I need to say about this. Just make it super clear, super easy to understand, and get that message out across as many channels as possible.
Yeah, I like how Jeff you emphasize like teach them, educate them on that one because it's a really new trend. Even though it's a fun thing, it's a new next big thing for everybody. Still, they're not very familiar with it compared to every other marketing copies that they've been reading on social media. So they might not be like expecting I'm coming here to shop. They might just expect to come here to chat with Jenny, which is great too. But you also want sales, so it's making it really clear to set the expectation correctly to also attract people the correct people correctly. It's like really, really important as well. So that was a lot of things that I wanted to follow up. The second one is you mentioned about the test event, like test launch, sorry. And I think that's really important because if I didn't remember it wrong, I remember in the show, they were asking people, oh, would you like this chain to be in silver color or gold color? And I found it really smart because as a marketer myself, I understand how hard it is to do a marketing research, especially do the marketing research to the people that potentially are already your buyer. So that I find that the way that you guys use this poll function in the live shopping event to ask which color you like the best, like a quick survey instead of like a boring survey that I will receive maybe in the pop-up in the corner of the website. I'm sorry for whoever created that, but it's not that interesting anymore. So I think the test event is really, really interesting concept for a different brand to try. Maybe would Jeff you recommend like I know a lot of brand is like having a headache. Okay, I know I need to get into live shopping, but how do I start? What sort of a concept should I start with? Would you say maybe doing a test launch for either your product or some question that you want to figure out an answer will be a good pilot series, or do you think there are other form of concept is also good for pilot series?
Yeah, sure. If we're talking about the first best way to launch this live shopping experience, I'd say um, maybe a new product launch. So if you release things on a seasonal basis, make sure you prepare ahead of time and get this experience ready for a new product launch. It's a great way to gauge user interest in your new products. It's a great way to ensure that those new products are seen very well, but also bought, hopefully, if you put together interesting bundles and exclusive deals. And as well, like you said before, it's a great way to poll the users. So if you've got this new product that you're a little bit unsure of, but you think it's potentially a big hit, sprinkle that in there. I wouldn't say create its own separate live shopping experience just for that, but bring it up maybe midway through and say, hey, we've got this new thing we're thinking about. We've got a small sample of it. We've only got 20. If you want to buy one, it's on sale now. And just gauge the experience and gauge the interest on that product.
Yeah, I hope everybody's jotting it right now because I think these are really, really great insight when it comes to starting a live shopping show because we know that live shopping is going to be staying for a while, but there are not a lot of resources around how do you get started, how can you get good at it. So, which is also lead me to the next things that I want to share with you guys is if you're trying to get into live shopping, the whole reason why we're doing a lot of webinars and different kind of educational content is because we couldn't emphasize enough. There are a lot of things in live shopping that you have to handle. It's all manageable, but it's really overwhelming at first. So it's really important if you work with someone that is experienced. For example, last episode, we talked about remote live producer. You want to work with a remote live producer because you want to be able to focus on everything else, but not getting scared of, oh, what if something happened? How am I going to troubleshoot? You won't know, and it's okay, and it's not your problem because it's a new thing for you. But it's something that they've been doing for a long time. And same for Agency Bloom. You don't know how to do promotional strategy dedicated for live shopping, but you really want to have like a great KPI, or at least you want to be able to focus on the concept so you can properly test if live shopping is for your brand. Then work with agency like Bloom that's already done live shopping event. You can see like the example of Jenny Bird is a great success. So you can like rest assured that they will be able to deliver for you for the live shopping promotional strategy while you're trying to figure out which host should be the host for the show for the different series, what kind of things that you want to test. with these different kind of pilot series. You want to test about, is this for your community? Is this concept, this format works? Is this host combination work well for you? So this is something that I highly recommend. And Jeff, can you share with us, like, how can they find you guys and talk to you guys if they're really interested to get started in live shopping?
Absolutely. If you guys have any questions about getting the message out there about live shopping and partnering with Bloom and LiveScale, jump on to makeitbloom.com, submit a contact form over there, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Cool. So thanks a lot, Jeff, today, and then the Bloom and the whole team for supporting us and then doing this webinar and sharing all these great insight with us. If you haven't had the time to jot down all the great notes, no worry, I've got you covered. So we will turn this webinar into a blog post where you can follow us on academy.livescale.tv, and then you just click the little webinar up there. Then you'll be able to see the recap of this webinar. And then once again, Bloom Agency has proven that they nail the strategy for live shopping event. I can't say it enough. Every time people ask me which one is your favorite live shopping show, how to promote it, it might get boring at some point, but it's just like Jenny Bird's one is absolutely the best example that I can give. So if you want to be really reassured on this part, they're the agents that you want to talk to, and this blog post, the blog post that you want to bookmark in your laptop as well. So thanks again, Jeff, for coming to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, absolutely, it's our honor. If you have any question, topics that you want to ask us about live shopping, you want to ask about promotional strategies to Jeff, don't hesitate. Email us, go to our website, social media, and we'll be there for you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.